Bore da, croeso I gwasanaeth yr wythnos. Good morning and welcome to this week's assembly. Our value this half term is trust, and trust is important because it is the foundation to all positive relationships. Hi everybody, I hope you had a brilliant weekend and enjoyed the extra day off that you had. Now we're still doing our trust assemblies, and today I have got one of my favourite stories that my mum and dad always used to read to me. Lots of you will know it, and it's all about being trustworthy and having responsibility. Now I'm sure lots of you are given responsibility at home, maybe given little jobs to do around the house, or in school. You may go on a message for a teacher or given a special job in school, and it's great to have responsibility. But as you find out in today's story, if you don't take responsibility and you aren't trustworthy, then people won't believe you. The boy who cried wolf. This story is about Sam, a little boy, some sheep, the villagers, and maybe, just maybe, a wolf. Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Sam who lived in a village in the mountains. Every day, he took the sheep from the village up to the hill to a grassy meadow. It was so boring. Here we are again, said Sam. Sam watched the sheep from morning until evening. Then he took them home again. Each day was the same, and Sam was lonely, and he was so bored. Poor Sam, all of his friends were down in the village playing, whilst he was stuck on the side of the hill, being so bored. He tried to make things more interesting by talking to the sheep. And how are you today, sheep? But they didn't listen to him, and they had nothing much to say apart from ba ba. Nobody ever comes up here, moaned Sam, and nothing ever happens. But one day, Sam had an idea. I could make something interesting happen. So Sam decided to play a very silly game. He ran down to the village and shouted, "Help! Help! Come quickly! A wolf!" he shouted. "A wolf has come out of the forest and is trying to eat all the sheep." As quick as a flash, all the villagers ran up the hill with him to try and help. But when they got there, puffing and panting, they saw, of course, that there was no wolf, and the sheep were quietly eating their grass. Understandably, the villagers were angry, but Sam just laughed. "That was so funny." "No, it was not," said the villagers. Next, a few days later, Sam was bored again, so he ran down to the hill to the village and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! Help! Help!" "There's a wolf!" he shouted. "A wolf has come out of the forest and is trying to eat up all the sheep. Please, come quickly." This time, some people didn't believe him, but most of them ran up to the hill to help him to see what had happened. Puffing and panting, they reached the meadow, but of course, there was no wolf, and the sheep were quietly eating their grass. Everyone was very angry, but Sam just laughed. 1 week later, Sam was bored again, and he ran down to the hill to the village. "Help! Help! There really is a wolf! Come quickly, please!" Most people didn't believe him this time, and only a few ran up the hill to help. Puffing and panting, they reached the meadow, but of course, there was no wolf, and the sheep were quietly eating their grass, and now everyone was furious. Sam laughed and laughed. Then, a few days later, a wolf did come out of the forest. Sam was terrified, and he ran down to the village as fast as he could. "Help! Please, help!" But this time, nobody believed him. "Do you think we're so stupid?" said the villagers. "I promise you, there is a wolf," said Sam. Sam begged them to come with him. "You have to help me, please." This time, they just laughed at him and said, "How can we trust you?" In the end, Sam had to go back up the hill all alone. By the time that Sam had reached the hill, the wolf had killed some of the sheep and the rest had managed to run away. Sam stayed in the meadow until it was dark at night. Finally, the villagers came to find him. "Our sheep! Oh no!" "I told you," said Sam. "Why didn't you believe me?" he asked. "You always told us lies before," the villagers said, "so we couldn't trust you." "I'm sorry. I've learnt my lesson. Never again," said Sam. So we've learned a really important message. Telling the truth and being trustworthy is important. And as we get older, we get more chances to have responsibility and be independent. But people won't trust us if we're not honest and we don't tell the truth. Have a great week, everybody, and aim high, above and beyond, so you can earn a golden wristband this Friday in our celebration assembly.